Hi, Wyclef.
¿Qué pasa, Madeline?
How are you?
I'm good. Everything is good.
What I do want to get into is Lori Loughlin. You know who that is?
Tell me.
This actress who spent a tremendous amount of money to get her daughter into college by doing things illegal. And if I'm not mistaken, what she did counted as one thing counted as like mail fraud, and it counted as federal crime. So she recently got sentenced. She has to serve 2 months. She's getting to spend in this detention center. You can read online how loose this whole thing is, and she gets to do arts and crafts and just all. You think it almost sounds as if she's going to some kind of camp for a couple of months. She requested that where she is held can be close to home. I didn't know people got to do that. All the people that I've ever known that have had to go to jail, they don't get to say, oh, I want to stay close to home. They granted her the ability to be in a facility that's only 4 hours from Los Angeles. So then there's this black woman who was also recently in the news. I think her name is Tanya McDowell, and I hope I didn't get it wrong. This woman sent her child to a school outside of her district. So she did what many parents do, and I know this because I used to live in Fort Lee, New Jersey. And with my address in Fort Lee, with my mail coming to me in my house that I lived in. And the school tried to tell me that my son and my nephew didn't live in Fort Lee. They thought that we were falsifying documents so that they could come from the Bronx to go to this school in Fort Lee, because a lot of people were doing that. A lot of people were doing it. And it's not allowed. This woman did that, Tanya McDowell, and got sentenced to 5 years in prison, Wyclef. She falsified documents to send her kid to a school in a better district and got a 5-year prison sentence. Lori Loughlin commits federal crime upon federal crime to get her daughter into college and gets a 2-month summer camp sentence. How is that fair? Let's get into that.
I don't know how is that fair, and in no way am I part of their court systems. I wasn't part of the jury, but I definitely have a few questions.
Okay.
One is the person serving 2 months is in, I would imagine the jurisdiction is California.
It's California.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And this second woman that you mentioned, where, because the way that...
I think she's in Connecticut.
Okay.
I think.
Because in order for me to make like a hard assessment, once again, we have sometimes, depending on the jury and the profile of the person and the community that they're in, what boards are they in, how have they served their community, how have they served that environment, right? And a lot of times, we have to understand that the law, this is still something we're working on, right? Like, we're still talking about the idea of equal rights and justice. Like, what's good for one should be good for the other side, right?
Yeah.
And we constantly have, these kind of cases. It's sort of like, and in no magnitude, like you was explaining with your son, like in Bayonne and, and then the whole district and that idea.
Yeah.
So the best way I could compare the unfairness to would probably be, I've watched kids that I grew up with from a place in East Orange called Main Street. And that was like a block like where a lot of things went down and a lot of things happened. And 60% of them are deported to Haiti.
Wow.
And when I got to the suburbs and I became part of There Goes the Neighborhood, black rapper in the area, man, the things that I've seen happen here with all these kids, like literally if that was us, they would put us under the jail growing up. But you know, they have ties with the police department, they have ties with who their councilman is on the block, you know, it's sort of like, so once again, what's fair to one is supposed to be fair to all, but that's not the reality. And in order for things to get better, we have to, as we instill in the youth growing up, we have to make sure that we are in positions with, you know, judges, lawyers, councilmen, you know, I'm looking at my daughter right now, like, look, you could be on the next Supreme Court judge up there. Like, we have to start instilling like these things in our youth as they start to grow, because our generation, we keep watching it and we keep complaining about it.
Yes.
And it looks like the generation before that was doing the same thing. Like,
and
we
before
keep,
that.
yeah, right. And we keep saying, hold up. It's crazy, right? It's so damn. I just had a flashback of the hurricane. The hurricane, the boxer, who Dylan ended up doing the song with, you know what I'm saying, where he was like wrongfully convicted and have to serve like prison time, right? And then you
Many
can take,
years.
yeah, you know, then Elvis just gets to walk in front of the, you know, the White House and be like, yo, I need to talk to Nixon, what's good? You know what I'm saying to you? So I think, you know, the balance of this is something that we constantly are fighting for.
Yeah. So let me tell you what that brings me to. I was watching Bun B on social media, and he was speaking to something that you speak to all the time. And you know, he was talking about, I for some reason keep bringing it back to this election, but he was talking about young people talking to him about how confused they are about what's happening in politics. So when you talk about this, what you just said about being in with your mayor and those things, you know, what Bun B said was, you know, you have to remember, city councilman becomes mayor, becomes state senator, eventually maybe runs for president. And so it brings me right back to something that you've been saying ever since I've known you, is that you have to start looking at politics at that level, at the most base level right there in your neighborhood, which is why I love AOC so much, because she did that and then she did something about that. I do think that's a big part of it, though, when we look at the difference in how these sentences are addressed. We also have to look at the difference in how we participate with who's getting elected to office at the most basic level, which is right there in our neighborhoods.
Yeah, 100%. But at the same time, like I said, what I don't do, I always keep things like 30,000 feet in the air. So, I mean, the person who's doing 2 months, you know, they're trying to figure out a way for their kid, like any parent would do. Like, they trying to figure legal or however you want to, you can justify what's right or wrong based on what you're gonna do, but we know what the law says.
Yeah.
So based on the law, if a law is broken, it's broken. But we all know what we do to get our kids what we have to get our kids, no matter what.
Yeah.
But once again, 30,000 feet looking at that, you have a broken system. So when somebody gets 2 months and another person gets 5 years, once again, it's a broken system.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. And I just wanted to, for anybody that listens to this segment that doesn't know that story, might have thought process. It might change the way they pay attention to their local politics. It might change the way they pay attention to what's going on in their schools. I'm just hoping that there are people who don't know about it, who will hear it, and it will spark something in them, because that's what podcasts are supposed to do, right?
Yeah, but the good thing is I don't have a podcast.
What is it you have?
I got a show.
All this time I've been on a show and I've been telling people I was
No, it's
on a
okay.
podcast.
I know why, because you're visualizing your own podcast. I know what's going on, Maddie. I seen the 5 heartbeats. This is the part when you step out as Flash and let everybody know your album's coming. Love you, Maddie. I'll see you next week.
Bye.